Hi, I'm Selena Hill, digital editor at Black Enterprise, and today I have the very special privilege to speak with DeVon Franklin, who is an award-winning TV and film producer, a New York Times best-selling author, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual success coach. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I want to start this conversation about your new book. It's called The Truth About Men.
The Truth About Men.
Yeah. So what is the truth about men?
The truth about men is that men struggle more than most realize. And so I wanted to write a book because there's been so much going on in the world about men and men's behavior. I wanted to write a book about the solution. So the truth about men is identifying, where we struggle as men and what can be done about it.
The book was inspired by a revelation you had with your father.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. When I was a teenager, I discovered that my father passed away when I was 9 years old. And he died of a heart attack when he was 36. And so, growing up, I knew who he was, but I didn't know the whole picture. So in my teenage years, I found a picture of my father and my mother sitting on a bed. And there was another female family member sitting on the same bed. And so my mother looked really upset. But my father and that female family member looked really happy. And so it was so peculiar to me. I began to ask questions. And, first people didn't tell me what was going on. But then eventually someone told me that my father and that female family member had an affair. And that really, really devastated me, rocked me to my core. And I said, wow, so if my father, cheated on my mother, well, what does that say about me? And what I began to ask the question was like, okay, does that mean the apple falls far from the tree or does it not? Mm-hmm. And then I began to ask my women in my family questions. Well, can men be faithful? And they began to tell me no. Wow. 99% of all men cheat. That's what they would tell me. And I was like, really? And they were like, yes, that's just the way it is. And so even as a teenager, I became just vigilant to try to figure out, is that really the way men are?
And you also have a new film coming out,
Yes.
Breakthrough.
Oh yeah, this movie is so powerful. From the moment that I heard about the story to now the trailer being out, and within a month's time we were able to get over 70 million views of the trailer. People are connecting to this story. The story's powerful. John Smith, when he was 14 years old, fell through a frozen lake. And he was without oxygen for 15 minutes. They rescued him. They couldn't bring him back to life, even though they tried for another 45 minutes. They went to his mother, who was in the emergency room, and they said, now's the time to say goodbye to your son. And she goes into the emergency room and she says, I don't accept this. She went over to him and she began to pray loudly. And eventually she got to a place where she said, Holy Spirit, bring back my son. Next thing you know, his heart started beating again.
It took you only 24 hours to convince Steph Curry to be a producer of this film. How did you do that?
I had a meeting with Steph and his team, Jerron and Eric, and they were talking about wanting to get into film. And when they were expressing what they wanted to do, faith, sports, and family. So I sent over the script. Steph read it in one sitting. Stephen read it in one sitting, and he said, I got to be a part of this.
You've been working in Hollywood for so long. A hot button issue around Hollywood is diversity. Do you think that there's been significant progress when it comes to diversity in Hollywood and, young African-American executives like yourself?
The process in Hollywood around diversity, specifically related to executives, is abysmal. And, I am the chair of the subcommittee for the executive branch of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences. And this is something that, we talk about, and we're in the process of trying to build some kind of global Hollywood initiatives to attack and to deal with this issue. So it is a systemic problem that Hollywood has yet to put a solution, a successful solution around it. And I'm committed to helping to be a part of that solution because we need it.